Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to today's webinar on exploring SSO and its advantages for your websites and applications. My name is Shivashish, and I'll be your host for this insightful session today, dedicated to a discussion on the power of SSO and how it can be integrated with Movi's products. And now, before we get started, let me give you a quick overview of Movie. Established in 2011 and headquartered in the United States, Movie was founded with a vision to disrupt the global streaming market. Movie offers a diverse range of streaming products that cater to the businesses of all shapes and sizes. So, whether you are a small business or a large enterprise, our scalable and flexible product portfolio can adapt to meet any streaming requirement. From comprehensive OTT platforms to fast channels, from on demand streaming to live streaming, from audio streaming to video streaming, and from deploying websites to applications on mobile and TV ecosystems across 16 plus platforms, Movie has a solution for all your streaming needs that can be accomplished with just a few clicks without the need for you to write any line of code. Our flagship product, Movie One, has been rated as the number one OTT platform on G2. And additionally, our live streaming product, Movie Live, was honored as the best live streaming product of 2022 by the readers of the Streaming Media magazine. If you can go to the next slide, please. So, whether you are a content creator, a media company, or a business venturing into the streaming space, our goal is to empower you with the tools and expertise needed to thrive in this competitive industry. If you are interested in learning more about Movie and how our streaming solutions can benefit your business, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And you can find our contact information on the screen. Now, coming back to today's webinar, in today's interconnected digital landscape, juggling multiple applications while ensuring robust security can be a daunting task. Single sign on or SSO can be a beacon of streamlined access management for the modern age, aligning multi factor authentication and therefore catering to multiple users and device policies. The power of SSO is immense, and to talk about its list of features and deployment possibilities, we have with us today Mr. Gadhar Killer, who is the Director of Engineering and Customer Success at Movie. With over 11 years of industry experience across various domains, Gayadhar is a part of Movie's core engineering division and is responsible for the platform's core architecture, development, and stability. Having worked with Movie for over 8 years, Gayadhar serves as the Director of Engineering, Customer Success, and Professional Services. His domain expertise lies with streaming technologies for audio, video, live stream, and is skilled with several technology stacks including AWS Cloud, microservice architecture, PHP, MySQL, jQuery, etc. Welcome to the webinar, Gather. And now it's over to you. And before we get started, let me just remind our audience that uh, you can keep posting your questions in the quick query box, and Gather will answer all these questions towards the end of this presentation. Over to you, Gather.
Thank you, Sibasis. A warm welcome to everyone once again. Sibasis, it was a nice introductions about movie. Thank you. Um, I am your host, Gayadhar Khilar, Director of Engineering Customer Success. Being part of movie for last 8 years, I will take you through this today's webinar. Uh, Before wasting any further time or further delay, we can jump into the topics straight away. So in today's webinar, I'll try to quickly cover um, some outlines that are covered in today's webinars are what is the SSO solutions it's all together, how SSO address or what problems SSO being addressed, how SSO works, best practices to look for an SSO solutions, and smooth and easy integrations with a movie. I would hardly take like a 20 to 30 minutes is to go through all these slides. Post that, you can post your questions and I will try to answer all those things. Okay, moving on to what is an SSO solutions. I'm sure you must be, as Sebastian mentioned, SSO stands for single sign-on. So single sign-on is nothing but it is an authentication scheme that enables users to secure authentications with multiple applications and website by logging in only once. With just one set of credential, you can have access to multiple applications. I have illustrated a simple diagram just to explain it better. Maybe I can explain it with one real-time example, which most of us use in our day-to-day activity. Google could be one such example where Google has multiple applications. It has YouTube, it has Google Drive, it has Gmail, it has Photo. So all these applications are there, but I'm sure you must have experienced once you log into any once you log into any of these applications, be it Google, be it Gmail. Once you logged into your Gmail account, you will find you are logged into google.com, you are logged into your YouTube account, and at the same time your Drive and Photos and all other associated applications that are hosted by Google also. So the technology that works behind the scene is called SSO. So SSO drives your login into multiple applications. You logged into one applications, but uh, behind the technology or behind the scene, SSO logged in to you into different applications. So that is a simple way to illustrate SSO. The same thing has been explained over in the image itself. Now moving on, what all problems SSO addressed? It is very essential to understand what we are trying to address with SSO. The first point is stronger security. How SSO can implement stronger security. Implementing policies for secure password management or stronger authentications. How it is possible since SSO, how it works, I'll explain it in my next slides. But just to be on the same page, SSO is nothing but a centralized um, you are managing your credentials or information at a centralized place through which or in which you can add whatever policies or password management means strong and secure password management rules. If you want to, you can add it over there, and the same thing would apply to multiple applications that use the same SSO technology or same SSO service provider. So that way you can implement stronger security with SSO. Regulatory compliance nowadays, a lot of regulatory compliance comes up with government entity as well as on private also. If you want to add some regulatory on top of your means user data protections or different user level regulatory, if you want to add, then you can easily add it. And the same thing applies to multiple applications who are using the SSO. So that regulatory compliance can be easily addressed if you are using SSO. GDPR would be one such example where if you are using your applications, then in European region, then GDPR compliance is the must. So in that case, if you are using SSO, then you can implement that GDPR compliance with the in the SSO provider, and the same thing would apply to all the applications who are using that SSO service provider. Reduce support cost. How it reduce actually? Since SSO manage all your user informations, login, user profile, forgot password, all these things are being managed at SSO at one place. Even if you are managing multiple applications, your help desk need not need to be worried about all these things like password management, and all the support is not needed at your end, even if including login as well. So in that way, you can save a lot of cost in terms of support as well. Support cost can typically be reduced by 30%. It is a market trend, but it depends on your application and uh, how far you are using SSO for how many applications. Increase productivity. How does SSO increase productivity? User no longer have to remember multiple username and passwords. Access applications or spend time for lost or forgotten passwords. So it is quite simple. I have explained in my first point. So you can, since it is maintained at a centralized place, so you don't need to be bothered about forget passwords and multiple username and passwords, so all these things. So these are the basic problems that are being addressed with SSO. Means you can address all these problems with SSO, and it is easy to address all these problems with SSO if your application is with an SSO. So typically how SSO works, I will illustrate that in a very simple diagram and a basic workflow diagram. But just to have a write-up on that, how SSO works, it is very simple. SSO work by sharing or verifying login credential between service and identity provider. Identity provider is nothing but the centralized place where your users credentials or user information is being managed, where you are adding policies or rules over there, where you are adding your regulatory compliance. So that is what identity provider's job is altogether. I'll explain it in the next slide as well. And service provider is the applications where you are using it. Means who is accessing that or who is dependent on the identity provider. So um, how it typically works, the workflow would be the website first checks see whether you are an authenticate already been authenticated by the SSO solutions. In which case, if you are already authenticated, it will directly redirect you to the login, or it will redirect or directly log you into to the service provider or applications. If you are not logged in or not authorized, then it will redirect you to the page where you need to authorize yourself by providing your username and password. Once you provide your username and password, then SSO pass on through a authentications mechanism and it authorize you. Once that authorization text took place, then the same thing being passed to the service provider, and the service provider identifies that. From there on, like using that informations, you logged into to the system. After logged in, the information that are being shared by your IDP, you can use those informations for your applications. So just to explain it better, how it actually works with a real-time example, I'll try to explain that. This image or this diagram, flow diagram illustrate how SSO typically works. I'm sorry. When you initiate a request through a user agent is nothing. It can be your web browser, it can be your mobile applications. When you initiate a request through your agent, what it ideally do? It ideally checks with the IDP. IDP is nothing but the identity provider, where you are, like the way I have mentioned it in my previous slide. IDP is the centralized place where all the user informations are kept, and where you are adding your rules, guidelines, policies, everything is maintained at the IDP. So IDP is not, it is basically the centralized authorization system through which you will get access. So user agent will request to the IDP just to check whether the user or the request that is coming to the IDP is a authorized user or not. If this the session uh, or the trusted relationship is already built, then it will mark you as a logged in user or authenticated user. If not, then it will ask you for login credentials or your username and password being sent, and Then what it will happen, like once you send or once you post your username and password, the IDP will authorize you. Once you are authorized, a SAML assertion, SAML, I'll explain what SAML stands for. SAML is nothing but a security assertion markup language. It is nothing but it is a very standard that is being used for access management, SSO. So it is an open standard protocols that can be used for both authentications and authorizations. So that is open standard being used for authentication and authorizations. A SAML assistant being created, and a trusted relation between your service provider is built. How it is built? Through the SAML assistant. Service provider is what is the applications which you want to access. So once the SAML assistant being created at the IDP end, the same get passed on to the service provider, and through that SAML assertion, the trust relationship gets built. And once that is built, uh, in the SAML assistance, you get the informations of the user, and the service provider can authorize you as a trusted user or as a logged in user to the applications. The same thing happen with multiple even if you uh, if we take Google's example, I'm trying to log into Google's through my browser. I have put in my credentials, the IDP server authorized me, and a SAML assistant get created. The same get passed on to let's say gmail.com, and with that SAML assistant between the IDP and the gmail.com relations being created. So now Gmail will allow me to log in. Same will happen with YouTube. Same will happen with Google Drive. So this way, the single assertion or the single authorizations can allow me to log into multiple applications. So this is a very basic or a simple way to explain how SSO works. Um, and so just to move further, what are the advantages of being an SSO? Improve security habits. That is there. I have explained how it improves. Improve identity protection since everything is managed at the IDP level. So you can earn more protections on your centralized authorizations server or authorized applications. Uh, it increase speed because the authorizations at one place it is being authorized, and so that way it will increase speed. uh, Help desk workload or support workload would be reduced, better user experience because we are managing everything at one place. Okay. This is very important if you are having an applications and if you are looking for an SSO solutions, then what all things you ideally look for a for your applications to go with an SSO. There are a few things to look into. I have listed out all these things over here in my slide. Number one is easy deployable, how easily you can deploy your applications with SSO. Portability, what all informations or what all things are portable with the SSO providers. What all standard being the SSO provider followed. Like the way I have mentioned, security assessment markup language is SAML 2.0 is something, it is a very open standard that is being followed by almost all the SSO provider. Similarly, built using open standard and specifications as far as possible. If it is built in open standard, then like it is easy to adapt any sort of um, any sort of queries or any sort of language over there. EG administrations. If you are choosing an SSO, if it is easily manageable or the admin interface is easy to use, then that is something you may look for. Security is the biggest concern or biggest point or biggest things to look for while choosing an SSO. How secure it is, what all authorizations mechanism it is adapting, is like a multi-factor or two-factor authorizations or authentications is there with SSO. So all these things to look look for while choosing an application, choosing an SSO solutions. Um, how data being stored, data store embedded or external, what all data can be stored. Means I can configure data store, user data store, policy data store. So there should be some sort of flexibility where I can configure all these things. How my data would be stored, how user data would be interacted with the applications, what all policy I can define on top of the IDP. So these are something I need to look for while choosing a SSO solutions. The next thing is web and non-web based resources. It is nothing but like SSO for your web and non-web applications like your mobile applications, if it is compatible with that or not. So that is something we may look for. Performance, scalability, and availability. This is the most, or this is something we need to be very careful while choosing an SSO solutions. What is that? I'll try to explain a little bit on this point because this is very important while choosing an SSO solutions. Uh, if your SSO solution, since it is integrated with your applications, and if your SSO provider or SSO solutions where you are integrated, the performance is not that great. If that performance is very poor, then in that case it will have a direct impact on your applications. Just imagine you are having your website and you try to connect to the SSO applications for authorizations or authentications. During that process, it took you to 5 to 10 second, 20 seconds just to authorize that user. In that case, it will eventually lead the load time of your applications, just because it is dependent the authorized SSOs applications in time. So that is one major aspect to look for. Scalability, if the SSO provider or the SSO solutions which you are choosing, it is not scalable, then it will have direct impact on your applications, be it web, mobile, whatever applications you are using. At the same time, availability, it is the um, essence of choosing your SSO applications. Why I'm saying, if you are integrated with the SSO solutions and you are having a lot of traffic, a lot of users into your systems, but the SSO provider or the SSO solutions which you are integrated with, it is not available, then in that case your entire system is dead. So it is like you are down like with all your applications. So in that case, availability is something need to be uh, taken care or need to be considered very carefully while choosing your SSO solutions. Flexibility and extensibility, it is nothing but how expands or what extent you can explore or allow expansions of a framework. Um, if you need different deployment need, if you need to configure different rules, or if you need to configure some custom rules on top of the existing applications. So now I just give a overall um, how SSO works, what all things you need to look for while choosing an SSO, what all problem it addresses. Now, moving on to our next segment, uh, uh, how smoothly and easily you can integrate with Muvi in SSO. I'll start with a simple illustrations or the a diagram that has been there in the screen. Post that, I'll try to explain um, what all things are there with Muvi and how easily you can integrate SSO with Muvi. So, as I've mentioned, if uh, if you are on a third party applications and you provide your login credentials over there, and you logged into the systems, and the system a third party website is nothing but let's say we consider it as a IDP. or we consider it as a SP, service provider. So in that case, um, in the service provider and you logged in over there, and you want to redirect the users to movie based applications, or your application is hosted at movie and you want the user who logged in to your other applications, they need to redirect to movie once their login gets successful on the third party applications. So in that case, how it works, ideally, like as I've explained in my previous slide, ideally how it will um, how the workflow would be: you logged in the third party applications, a SAML assistance get created, or a token being generated at the third party applications, and the same being shared with movie um, over API or over SAML assistance. A link or a trusted relation will be built once movie verifies that the user informations, and movie will automatically log in that user to your movie based applications. And the user will have access to the movie system then and there. So if you are coming through a third party applications, what if you are on a movie applications altogether, and your authentications are required in the third party applications, like when you are on movie based applications and your user clicks on login, then what will happen, how the workflow would be, it would be in the same way. The user would be redirected to the your third party applications, and from there the user has to provide the credentials. Applications need to authenticate that user. Once that authentications is done, the authorizations token or the SAML assistant being shared with movie, and using that token, movie will allow the user to log into the system or your movie based applications. Okay. Now, coming on to the next part, why we are saying key smooth and easy integrations with movie. Because of basically there are three reasons. We are already integrated with a different IDPs and SSO providers. Like we are integrated, like with SAML 2.0, we are already integrated with Comcast, Mini Orange, Double TV, uh, identity providers. These are the identity providers we are already integrated with, and it use the open standard protocol SAML 2.0. So using that, all these integrations is already done in the step. So in that case, if you have a IDP, or you are with any IDP provider you want to integrate, then it is you can do it right away without any delay or without any manual intervention from movie side. So it is quite configurable. You just get the credential or get the provided informations, like the we have mentioned it. Service endpoint URL for login, service endpoint URL for logout, sign in certificate. Once you get all these three informations, you are all set to go with the SSO integrations. Similarly, we are with Auth 2.0, we are integrated with Azure, Google, and Apple. So if you want your SSO to work with in these uh, applications, or Azure, Google, or Apple, then you provide the client ID, client secret, and API endpoint URL. Um, the SSO integrations can go hand in hand because it is already integrated and all set. Similarly, the third and most effective one, which is already there with Movie, is the custom integrations with Movie as IDP or vice versa. What does it mean? Custom integrations, Movie provide that options, since we are allowing our customer to do customizations on top of our platforms. So in these options, what we are allowing our customer to use Movie as a IDP, or else you can come up with a service provider. We can integrate uh, that service provider as one of the IDP, though it is not listed anywhere, but we can mark it as an IDP, and we can do the custom integrations on top of our applications. So typically how this works, I've created a simple sequence flow diagram, and just to help or just to uh, clarify that better, we are using JWT token just to do these handshakes. So how it happens ideally? Ideally, Movie first shared a JWT secret key. That would be a key exchanged by Movie with the third-party applications. Using that key or secret key, all the encryption and decryptions of JWT token would happen. So first, Movie will share that JWT token with the third-party applications, and the when in the third-party applications, when a user gets created, the same information get passed on to Movie, and Movie validate that user's data and create a users and a UID being returned to the third-party applications. And the third-party application store that UID against the user. While authorizations or while doing authentications, user has to provide the credential, and Movie authenticate that user or validate that user, encrypt the response in JWT token format, and the same JWT token being passed on to the third-party applications, and the applications process the tokens. How it will be processed? It cannot be processed without the secret key. The secret key that is shared on step one can be used here just to decrypt the tokens that are being sent by Movie. So once that decryption is done and the user is validated, so user will get access to the applications, third party applications here. So here you can see a Movie act as a IDP independently. The same way, the vice versa can also be possible. Movie can be like the third party applications can be treated as a IDP, and from there on we can go with all other processes that we follow. Okay, moving on to our next slide. How there are two major components that I want to highlight in this integrations with Movie. What is it? Like the flexible options to integrate with new IDP. Since we have the architecture in place, and we means Movie has the architecture in place, and we are already integrated with uh, some of the SSO or IDP providers that are there in the market with the open standard language or open standard protocols that are available, be it SAML 2.0, be it Auth 2.0 or OpenID. So we are already integrated with all these things. So adding any new IDP or a new service provider won't take us lot of time. In uh, that case, we are in that space. We can have a quick and easy integrations depending on the service providers request response parameters and how they are exchanging their informations with us. If everything goes smooth, then the integrations time would be very minimal, and the new IDP or new SSO provider can be easily integrated with Movie. The next thing is key easy to integrate APIs and tokenized solutions. Since Movie already provides APIs and the tokenized solutions that I have mentioned in my previous slide, it allows you that flexibility, or it allows us that flexibility. We can integrate with any applications. If it is not a um, flagship IDP, if you are having your own SSO solutions or uh, authentications mechanism with you, and or if you are having an existing applications where you want to do custom development just to have a SSO or just to have a handshake with Movie, then that is also possible. How it is possible with the uh, standard or technology or that is being explained. through API or through this tokenized solutions. It allows you that flexibility. You can integrate with your applications with ease. However, it required a little bit custom effort at your end, at the same time at movie end. Um, if it follows the default standard, then probably we don't need any customizations. But since you are since your applications is or has to adapt to the standards that are being defined at movie, then in that case probably you need little bit customizations. So that way, it can be like this can be adapted very easily and quickly. Yeah, I think uh, I think I'm done. So so far I have covered all the basic on SSO, how it could be effective, how to choose an SSO. Now I'm open for Q&A, and thank you for being part of the sessions. I would ask Sivasis if he can uh, share the questions or any. We can start the Q&A session, Sivasis, right?
Thank you, Gather. It was a very informative presentation, and I'm sure our audiences are excited to ask a lot of questions from you. But before we move on to the Q&A section, I would request the audience to take a minute to answer a quick poll, which should be coming on to your screen now. If you can't see the poll, just click on the poll icon on the bottom of your screen, and you will be able to see a dialog box which will have the poll. So, starting with the questions, Simran wants to know that how is an SSO provider's performance and scalability has an impact on my application?
Okay. Thank you, Simran, for asking the questions. I have stressed upon that point while going through my slide decks, but I would like to explain it again. Performance and scalability is directly proportional to your applications. Um, why? Like I'll explain one by one. Performance, as I have explained, if you are integrated with an SSO applications and the application performance itself is not that good, just you initiate a request to authorize or authenticate your users. But during that process, the user authorizations took place around, let's say, 10 second, 5 second, whatever timeline. So your application need to wait that much of time, or your user who is there in your applications, he or she need to wait that much time to get a confirmations my authorization has been successful or not. So in that case, it though the SSO is running behind, but it is your applications who is interacting in the backend. So even if the performance of the SSO provider is not that good, so that is not known to the users. So the user will know ki the application what I'm using has a very poor performance. So in that case, but the actual performance lag is with the SSO provider. So in that case, it has a direct impact on your performance. So it is important to have that factor to consider while choosing an SSO. Now, coming to the stability, if the SSO provider which you are choosing, it is not stable, then it has a direct impact on your applications as well. If just imagine you are using a mobile applications and the SSO request being initiated from your applications, and from like to whom you have initiated the request, that application is not stable. It was not able to give response in time. It is not giving response as per the required format, or in the desired format. Then your applications will obviously behave or dysfunctional. So it will have impact on your applications, as well as your user will have a bad experience while using your applications. So these are the two major factors to be considered while choosing an SSO application. So that is the reason it is very essential to have performance and scalability of the SSO applications in sync with the applications what you are integrated with. Hope I'm able to answer the question.
I hope this answers your question, Simran. The next question that is coming is it's from Alfred, and he wants to know that what are the steps to integrate SSO for my application, which is hosted on Movie.
Yeah. See, there are three things I have mentioned in my presentations. If you want to integrate SSO for your applications with any of the existing IDPs, then the steps are quite clear. We are having help article where you will get all these informations. You need to provide the required informations if you want to integrate with IDPs like Mini Orange, Comcast, or Double TV. Then the steps are quite clear. Provide the login URL, logout URL, and the token. uh, the integrations can be go hand in hand. If you want to go with anything like a Google, Azure, or Apple, then provide the client ID, client secret, and the required informations. It can go hand in hand. Even if you don't want to integrate all these things, if you want to integrate any third IDP, then get the credentials or get the informations from the IDP and share it with the movie development team. If the request response parameter is in align to what it has been there with other integrated applications, then we can have a quick integrations, and you can go live very quickly. If you want a custom integrations, like let's say it is not a standard applications or standard IDP, and if you want, you are having your own custom solutions in place, or you are having own applications, and you want to integrate SSO with the movie hosted applications with your applications, then in that case, like the third solutions which I have mentioned in my presentations, it would be a um, uh, third like it would be a tokenized solutions where a handshake is required between your applications and movie, and some custom development at your end, just to align with the guidelines of a movie. um, with the provided informations, these integrations can also be possible. So all these options are there. It depends on what option you choose for your applications.
I hope this answers your question, Alfred. This concludes our session for today. I thank Gayatri once again for joining us for this webinar. And to all our audiences, Movie keeps conducting monthly webinars on some interesting industry topics and to showcase some of Movie's best offerings. I would personally request all our viewers to keep a lookout for our social media channels and the website for a registration link for the next webinar. As a small token of appreciation, we would like to give out an informative brochure to view later on single sign-on and how a movie can help, which should be available in the comment section. You just have to click the link and you will be able to download the brochure. Thank you again, everyone, for joining this webinar. Hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.